Hey guys, this is LJZ0724, and just letting you know, due to Wi-Fi data issues within my family, I'm only going to be able to put up maybe one or two reviews now a week. So yeah, much less frequently than I have been doing it. And rest assured, whenever I finish the movie or book, I will film the video on my computer and save it, and then eventually put it up whenever I can. So basically, I'm sort of going to have a queue, like a list of video reviews on my computer, and whenever I can eventually, next week put up one, the week after put up one, the week after put up one, eventually put up each video. It should work out okay, but just so you know, for instance, if in one of my videos I said I just finished I Am Legend yesterday, and it was like a week and a half since I said I was reading it, that you know why there's such a delay. So yes, by the time you're actually watching this video right now, I probably actually filmed it maybe like a week and a half ago. So that explains it. Okay, the review I'm doing right now is of a library book, Skin by Roald Dahl. This book I read back in 8th grade, and I was impressed by it. Just warn you, there's no scary stories in this whatsoever. I mean, there's some that are sort of suspenseful, some that are thrillers, some shockers, but nothing scary about it. But, I mean, it's Roald Dahl's vision, his take on horror, so to each their own. So this doesn't compare at all to, like, say, Stephen King's short story collections, but it does show different insight into what he determines to be horror. And there are a couple stories in this book that are good. There's some that are just not good at all. Nothing really happens. So yeah, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 short stories in this book. The first short story, which is also the title of this book, titled Skin, it is about a guy, a tattoo artist, who is, his apprentice is a well-known painter. He's really good at painting. And so the tattoo artist says, use my supplies to tattoo my wife on my back so I can have your masterpieces wherever I go. So he takes the equipment, does the tattoo. Years later, the artist has left and gone somewhere else, and the guy who has the tattoo of his wife is just like walking through town, sees a painting from his past apprentice, and he's like, whoa. Then he runs in, takes off his shirt, shows everyone in the store the tattoo on his back. People start bidding for like the tattoo, and he's wondering, like, how can you have my tattoo? It's on my back. And people are saying, oh, I'll get a surgeon to take the skin off and all that. He eventually goes with this one guy who claims he owns a hotel, and the guy says, oh, come stay at my hotel, show off your tattoo in the summer, and all the good stuff. And it ends on a very mysterious note. It says the hotel the guy mentioned didn't exist, and the guy's tattoo showed up at auction a couple days later. So you really don't know if the guy was killed or not. The guy with the tattoo was killed or not. It's just really weird. It wasn't scary, but his stories are just really, really, I don't know how to describe them. It's just, the best word I can think of is weird. It's just really weird. Like, for instance, the next story, Lamb to the Slaughter. It's about a lady who gets fed up with her wife. A lady who gets fed up with her husband. Sorry. And, she happens to go down to the cellar. She's making dinner when this happens. She gets really mad. She finds a frozen lamb leg, and she uses that to hit her husband on the head and kill him. Then she calls the police and detectives over saying, oh, I have no idea what happened. They come over. They say, okay, if we can find the instrument that the murderer used to kill him, we can determine who the murderer was. In the meantime, the lady puts the leg of lamb in the oven so it can cook. And at the end of the story, she offers the leg of lamb to the detectives because she's like, "Oh, you must be hungry." They're like, "Oh," they oblige, and it ends with the detectives eating the lamb and saying, "Wow, this object of murder must be right under our noses." And the lady's like giggling in the other room. That is messed up. The other story, The Sound Machine, is very interesting. It's about a guy who builds a machine that can allow you to hear sounds at different frequencies. And apparently he finds out if you kill a plant or something, if you put the machine at a really high frequency, you can hear the plant screaming. That's definitely really weird. An African Story, I don't want to get much into that. That wasn't that good. It was a disappointment. Galloping Foxley, another one of those stories that seem kind of pointless in the beginning. It's about, well, at the end, pointless at the end. Because at the beginning, it's pretty cool. It's about a guy who every day walks to the same train station to go to work. And, you know, he basically knows every single person he sees on his trip to the train station. And he sees one guy that he doesn't know. It's out of place. And he's like, "Who's that?" So he starts talking to the guy. And all of a sudden it dawns on him that he resembles this one guy who bullied him back in high school. At the very end of the story, he says, "I am so-and-so. I went to this school in this year." Wanting to see if the guy will be like, "Oh my gosh, it's the guy I bullied." But the guy says, "No, I'm this totally different person who went to a totally different school on a totally different year." So it turns out that whole story was pointless because the guy really wasn't actually the bully. That was really kind of silly, but whatever. I mean, it was interesting. The Wish, that inspired, I'm guessing, the picture of the snake on the cover. It wasn't the best. The Surgeon, definitely weird. It's about a guy he's a surgeon, and he saves this one guy who turns out to be this Saudi Arabian prince from death. So, in thanks, the king of Saudi Arabia, I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia, gives the surgeon this large gem as a token of gratitude. And he takes it to the jeweler, finds out how much it's worth. It's an astounding amount of money. They happen to go on vacation. He says, "I don't want to be carrying this gem around my pocket on vacation because that's just going to stress me out all the time." So they're trying to think of places to hide the gem in the house while they're gone. They decide on freezing it in the ice cube tray. And it's a clear gem, so no one would see it. When they come back from their vacation, it turns out some burglars have ransacked the whole place, and the gem is gone. And it turns out one of the burglars ended up having the ice cube with the gem in it with like a glass of, I think it was brandy. He swallowed it. Turns out some other surgeon on the other side of town finds the gem within them, and it just goes on from there. The next story, Dip in the Pool, that was decent. Champion of the World, it's about some poacher who uses these raisins filled with sort of like the sleeping powder from a pill, and he bags like, I forget exactly how many, I think he said like 120 pheasants. I'm not sure if that's correct. And at the end, when he thinks they brought all the pheasants home, they're drugged and doped from all that sleeping pill. They come to life and they're flying all over the place, and they're like, "Let's close this place up for the day and get out of here," because they don't want to get caught. Beware of the Dog was okay, and My Lady Love My Dove, that was interesting. I hadn't read it. I hadn't read My Lady Love My Dove back in 8th grade. I read it this year, and it was great. All in all, okay book. Definitely say you should check it out, if not necessarily if you want a horror book, but if you want just a book to keep you, it does keep you entertained for sure. I would say check it out, and it's not that long. It's only 212 pages. you should really get through it pretty quickly. Right now, I'm now going to start The Taking by Dean Koontz. I'm already 50 pages into it, and there are 417 pages in the whole book. So, very entertaining read. I can already tell you right now, I'm surprised at Dean Koontz's description. But yeah, as soon as I finish this, I'll put a review up for it, so thank you very much. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.